Hello, so I'm going to introduce my Psionics products. Psionics is the art of using energy to affect reality. Please first of all check my previous blog on Psionics and the previous Q&A session in which I explain how to douse the rates, how it all works, how to get these things working. What I'm going to do today is go over my instruments and talismans to explain how they work. First of all, over here, we have on the right of the screen, you have the kind of basic Psionics plate. Basic Psionics operations involve either increasing or diminishing the energy of something. It could be any trend in life, which could be something like your wealth, an illness, problems, your relationships, love. Anything that can be doused in energy for can be then increased or diminished. So on the chart, you put in the center your name, because if it's targeted to you or somebody else, if you're working with somebody else. The rate boxes are therefore where you put the numbers you douse, and the trend boxes are the purpose of the operation, such as wealth, health, anything you think of. So basically, it's easy to use. Anything you want in your life to change, you find a frequency for to increase or diminish it. So for instance, you could increase your abundance, increase your love in your life, diminish your disease, diminish problem areas like conflicts with neighbors, trouble with your kids, problems with the bank. These will all be diminished by energy, so things reduced in your life. That's the simplicity of Psionics. However, sometimes you want it a bit more than that. So what I do is create talismans to go into the trend boxes. Talismans come in sheets. As I'll show you an example, this is the Karmic tie cutter. There are many of them on a sheet, so you can cut them out and stick them on the trend box. And you can put as many as you like to do some operations. The thing about these talismans is they are repeatable. The surface multiplies every time you print a sheet, so it can be used many times. So I'll go over some of the the talismans we use, which are sold on my site. For instance, there's the one I just showed you, Karmic tie cutter. This is there to cut the karmic ties with people. You might have a certain problem with a person. There's energy flow between a person, which always affects you. They drain your energy. There's always problems. Emotions are stirred up. You don't know what to do about it. In that situation, you put the karmic tie cutter in the trend box. Douse the rate for that relationship. It cuts all ties. The karma is solved, so you don't have those problems anymore. You have a normal, healthy relationship without these kind of strange karmic interactions going on. Another example is the mind shield. Sometimes a person is affected by mind control, and rather than just try and diminish energy, you want to get rid of it completely. The service I put in that talisman is there to actually measure the algorithms of your own brain and actually neutralize anything that is not in harmony with them. So by adding a talisman, it'll actually put some more magical operation in your hands. So through these talismans, you can add really powerful magical operations onto your simple chart. So you can do these magical things very easily. So the mind shield then will actually cut down all mind control. Another example. The Exorcism Talisman. Obviously, it's not enough to try and neutralize the energy of a demon. Sometimes it takes a bit more than that. This talisman is linked to a powerful server which has many exorcism spells and energies that you remove the demon or whatever it is it's problem for you. Put that into the trend box, add a rate for this, and the chart will then remove the demon. It might take more than a normal healing session exorcism. It might take a day or whatever, but it will remove it. Other examples, I've got talismans. Sometimes you want to remove energy completely. I use the Apep Talisman, because Apep is a void being. It voids energy completely rather than just diminishing. Using something like a disease or a problem, rather than just diminish it, to make it go completely. Another example, the Intelligent Shield is there if, in case somebody is, say, cursing you, was using psionic operations against you. This one can actually neutralize many different attacks. When you put that on the chart, rather than just use the basic psionics to diminish energy, it has various counter spells to actually break the curses completely. So you can put that in the chart, you can douse many rates of different curses, it'll neutralize all of them. Other examples, we have an Implant Deactivator. So for instance, if somebody has implants to them, rather than just diminishing energy, you want to actually neutralize it completely, so it's not bothering them anymore. This has a particular servitor which you actually find the implant and actually fry the chips in it, deactivate it, make sure it's gone completely. So a few examples of talismans. They basically meant to be used in the trend box. And if you look at my website, there's many different examples. Easy to use, put them in the trend box, find a rate, and it'll do the job. So basically, the Psionic plate comes with a course where you understand how to actually douse the rates, how to actually find your problem, how to neutralize it, how to create ray patterns, various things, how to use talismans. So that you do the basic course first, to explain the basics of Psionics, and you can then use talismans on it. You then find further down my page, there were actually particular kits which involve many talismans, which involve advanced operations. First one I want to point you to is the Invincible Psychic Healing Kit. When you get this kit, it comes first of all with a little dowsing chart. You use this simply by putting a pendulum over it to actually find which of these things it swings to. So you can actually find what the problem is. So the reason I use this is because a person might have various psychic problems going on, problems happening in life, and they suspect something's going on, but don't quite know what it is. Things this is dowsing for, I'll just go over quickly. Acker cords, which is your connections to other people that the Karmic cutter cuts. Vampirism, somebody's draining you. Bindings, somebody's put a spell on you to stop you from doing something and it limits your ability. Curses, really self-explanatory. Psionics. Some people might use this kind of psionics in a negative way to actually harm you or block you in some way. Effects of drugs, yep, intelligence for neutralizing those two. Implants, which I explained a minute ago. Emotional blocks. Now, these are a bit more complex because obviously there could be so many different kinds. What I have in this kit is 3 particular talismans that are going to help with that according to the nature of the block. There's a love block remover, there's a money block remover, and what I call a Discreation Talisman. Obviously, love block remover gets to any possible block behind love because it's targeted to actually understand all the different ways you block yourself. Same with the money block remover. Anything else you do use a Discreation Talisman for. If you think of the problem, what the Discretion Talisman does is find that issue in your consciousness and begin to actually dissolve it, discreate it basically. So we have ways of dealing with your different emotional blocks as well. There's one for soul loss, and we have a soul retrieval talisman for that. Again, this is something that wouldn't be normally done through normal psionics. That's why we have an extra talisman. The serpent is able to journey to the underworld, work with the nagas, and retrieve it to his soul. And of course, there's energy imbalance. For that, we have another kind of plate, as it were, kit. If the problem is an energy imbalance, it's either going to be meridians or chakras. So this plate is made to balance them and heal them very quickly. You notice down the side there were 14 meridians and there were the 7 chakras. The first thing is to dowse which one's out of balance, and that's why I use a pendulum. So I simply hold the pendulum over each one, say, is one out of balance, it'll give me yes or no. Every time I find a meridian out of balance, I simply touch it by a rune, and it sends a powerful healing to that meridian. The healing orb for this one lasts about an hour. So it's like an acupuncture session on that meridian. Then I do the same with the chakras. I dowse over each one. Is the base chakra out of balance? It'll give me yes or no. It stops the swing. If it's out of balance, I touch the symbol. Again, it sends powerful healing to that chakra. This way, you can go through each meridian, each chakra to heal any that are out of balance. This chart will very easily give somebody a full energy balancing. Heal them. That way, on the basic dowsing chart, you see you've got some problems which are external and some which are within themselves, such as emotional blocks, energy imbalances. So you're able to do actually quite a complete healing. However, there's a second level, the Invincible Psychic Healing Kit 2, which deals with more advanced occult problems, and I'll explain some of these. Again, it comes with the dowsing charts and various talismans. Once again, you dowse with the pendulum, see which bodies it swings to so you understand where the main problem is, and then we can start dealing with those problems. And I'll try and talk about what these are. Over on the side of this chart, we have what's called apostasy. Apostasy is quite a vile magic which disconnects you from divinity. So in your spiritual powers, your connections go, makes it hard to actually protect yourself spiritually. That's often the first line of attack from an advanced magician. If you find yourself disconnected and find this apostasy on you, we have a spiritual reconnection talisman. Next thing we have on is the EM, the electromagnetic interference. You can be targeted by electromagnetic radiations, satellites and towers around you. These can also cause problems. We have a PEMF talisman, a pulsed electromagnetic field talisman, which actually neutralizes those. What it does, it measures any aberrant energies on you and matches them with a pulsed tachyon frequency, which takes out all those negative frequencies. If we have on it the generation curse, it can be a more insidious kind of curse. Sometimes it's on the family. You find everybody in the family has the same problems, generation after generation. It takes a bit longer to break the normal curse. So this talisman is very clever. It'll actually work on a generational curse and remove it from your DNA from the whole system and end that problem. AI, artificial intelligences. These come in many forms. They're not always as little robotic implants, sometimes actually created chemically as little DNA sequences you get into the body. This talisman is able to find and neutralize these AI's interferences, get it off the DNA, get rid of what's actually interfering with you. So you may have doubted that answers a simple talisman, makes everything very easy. The fifth thing on this chart is called the Iblis Pitu. Now, this is something from Indonesian magic, but there would be equivalent to another magical system. So it doesn't matter what you call it. This works for any kind of interference comes from a higher level what the Bliss P2 does, it causes other entities to attack. So you don't actually see the cause of the problems. You may have one entity coming after another, one curse coming after another, get rid of one, the next one comes up. There's something in the background, which we call the Bliss P2, which is producing those attacks. Therefore, it's not enough to actually clear the curse on you. When you set this talisman up, it searches for these kind of background attacks, what we call them hidden enemy destroyer. It'll actually locate the Bliss P2 and remove it, so it ends the real cause of the problem. Next problem we come up is possession. Self-explanatory, people often get possessed by demons and things. The actual anti-possession talisman, the Exorcism Talisman, will remove them. We then have what we call Qlippoth. Now this is a very deep occult problem. Qlippoth are seen as the first and most primitive and most powerful of the demons. The first forces of separation as we separate from the source. Therefore often hardest to deal with. The answer to this one is what we call the Ark of the Covenant Talisman, which actually reconnects you to source, actually gets you to face that initial separation where you chose to separate and put something in your way to separate from God. It changes that around. It ends the final separation, brings you back into your oneness while dealing with that Qlippoth. The final thing on this chart, abduction. We have an abduction to a talisman. The reason we have to make a special talisman for this is because the effects of abduction can be so complex. You can have delays in your memory blocks, messes with timelines, you have time, extra personalities in you. So many things affect you that we have to make a talisman to with all the complexity of it. If you've been abducted, use this one talisman, it fixes the problem. So you see with these basic kits, you've got ways of dealing with all the most complex problems you can have without actually any magical experience at all. The Psionics and the talismans and the servitors will do it all for you. Beyond that, we have some individual plates. First one I want to show you is the Harmoniser. These plates almost bypass the complex system of dowsing rates. All you have to do is put a name on it and the whole chart is working on you already. Harmonize to harmonize two people. You put names of the two people within the kind of spheres on the chart. And what it does, it balances your kind of vibration so you get each other. You're in harmony so you understand each other. So many conflicts there simply because you're not on the same wavelength and don't quite get each other. When you harmonize people, a lot of those conflicts can be solved. Another important plate is the magical defense system. Those who want strong protection without having to go through the dowsing, you don't even need the basic healing and dowsing kits and charts to do these ones. These charts are pretty self-sufficient. Only have to put your name in it, and all these different forms of protection are put around you. Very powerful shielding on many levels. Involves some of the Vedic ones, some codems, angelic helpers. Very powerful levels of protection, so many layers that no psychic attack can get through. You also have a healing plate. Show you how this one works. Again, you simply put the name in it. And what this one does, it doesn't heal everything, as obviously healing is complex, but what it will do is enhance your energy, put strength to the meridians, enhance the blind blueprints, your body returns to its perfect configuration, and neutralize some of the common problems we suffer from as a human race, some of the myths in us that we have to age and so on, some of the kind of negative beliefs, what we call cords of death. There are certain cords of death known in the occult, which are basic parts of the condition which make us die and age. It'll neutralize all of these things so you actually maintain your life force much better. This is a good kind of background healing plate to put your name into. You're on the overall more healthy and strong and age less quickly. It doesn't actually bypass all the individual healing needs to do, but it's a very powerful ally. Next plate I want to put up is the DNA guard. Put it up for several reasons, because people have various methods of problems with the DNA. It comes from, say, mRNA vaccines, AI, various things we put into the genes to affect them, radiation. This is made to repair the DNA and turn it to its pattern. All you have to do is put the name. You see there's 3 boxes. You can do 3 people on one chart. So you can do the family, as it were. There are various things on the chart. We're going to heal the DNA from various angles. It'll remove the AI, remove the kind of aberrant DNA, actually, and then return the body to its perfect configuration, where the DNA is pretty healthy. Another very important chart I want to show you is the manifestation machine. This is made to actually manifest things very easily. We all know we can manifest our dreams by visualizing, but how many people have the patience to go through it and keep on it? With this one, you only have to touch this button here while visualizing what you want. The chart then picks up that visualization and puts it out 24/7, greatly amplified. Plus, it has an obstacle remover talisman, and a like a road opener talisman, which actually clears obstacles to make sure that thing can manifest. Now, what I would warn you of is that because this amplifies your thoughts, be sure you're really clear when you actually use it. Get your mind clear, make sure you have a very positive image in your mind. If you use it with the thought that is never going to work, that's what you amplify. You don't want that. So before using this one, just take a minute to clear yourself. Know what you want, to visualize it clearly with full emotion. Touch this button, put your visualization there, you let go, and it'll carry on working. It'll keep going 24/7 with powerful energy, moving obstacles until your goal manifests. You can pin as many of these as you like to program with different goals to leave them all working. So the last chart I'm going to show you is what I call the Ultimate Healing Kit. This is designed to actually send out a particular healing session at a time. Each healing session lasts an hour. It only takes a few seconds to set up. Very good for healers who are doing distant healing. They've got a lot of clients. And there's many different healing modes you can activate as you need them. So I'll go over some of these functions. First of all, in the target box, there's many possible targets. You could do several people at once. What do? You switch it on, clear the plate from past programs, put your targets in. Then the different buttons here, different symbols, activate different healing powers. So we have a clear orb. This one actually clears your energy field. It takes about 20 minutes. It'll remove all curses and negative energies from the whole system. Very good for when you need a good cleanse. It has the healing orb. This one lasts an hour when you put it out. Contains some very powerful healing modalities, which strengthens the whole energy field, all the meridians and chakras, and heals holes and so on. So in that in itself, it's a very powerful healing. It has a tie cutter. Cuts all the karmic ties to other people, the occult we spoke about. Sometimes you're dealing with a person, you realize they've got ties to certain people that are affecting them. You try cutting it by a button. Then we have the soul retrieval button. You first need soul retrieval. The servant of the talisman do it all for them. They'll journey to the underworld and retrieve the missing piece of their soul. So if somebody's got a piece of them missing, and you would normally have to do a shamanic journey, be done with a touch of a button. It'll take about an hour. They lie down, and the chart does it. We then have this button is basically curses and entities. Would immediately removes them. Very powerful service in this one. It has a very high magic. You like to remove all curses and all possessions, negative entities, and demons from the person. Again, it takes about an hour. So you set up an hour session, and everything is done. We then have a codome button. Codomes are angelic helpers. Sometimes the person needs a bit extra help when they're leaving curses. You surround them with a legion of angelic codems, which give them protection and guidance and generally help clear their energy field. And they'll stay with them for a while to actually protect them. So when a person goes through a deep healing and they're vulnerable, they keep protected later when they're adjusting. The other one, the nuke, is an interesting one. Doesn't mean it's going to send a nuclear missile at them. What it is actually almost like the empty shell of a nuclear missile that can be filled with something. Whatever you put into this one will fit with the power of a nuclear blast, which means it does it fast. I could put a prayer into it. I could say, think of love, do a love nuke. A huge blast of love helps lock through change. I could even actually use other ones, such as say a clear orb nuke. It means that the clear orb is now sent with a great power, like a nuclear missile that blasts all negativity away from them very fast. Or a psychic nuke. So nuke is there to actually give a very strong blast of any energy you like. So it's used for positive things, not for sending missiles to the person to destroy them. Next one, forgive self. A lot of people have shame and guilt. This does actually more than forgive themselves, because what it's doing is deprogramming them for the negative condition, which tells them that there's a problem with them. Gets rid of all the shame or the guilt or the feeling that there's something wrong with them, or the feeling that they're not good enough. Clears a lot of this conditioning so they actually feel themselves, and they finally can forgive themselves and feel good about themselves. Get rid of all shame and guilt, basically, which is very powerful in itself. Sometimes people spend a long time trying to do these things in healing sessions. This will clear a lot in one go. Next button, Discreate. I mentioned before we have a Discreation Talisman. It's part of this chart too. This is used with more in mind. We wouldn't use on multiple targets at once. It's for an individual problem. You're healing somebody who has a good problem, whether it's a bad habit, an addiction, repeated problem in their life, like always same relationships. You can think of that pattern and press the Discreate button. It starts breaking down that pattern. It will be a conscious process. It will cause emotional release. All the emotions behind that creation are going to come up and be released, so the person changes. They stop creating that reality. Very powerful healing itself. It changes things permanently. The final button over on this chart is the Reconnect to Earth. This has been a big one, particularly lately. More unnatural things are in this world, such as 5G and the HARP causing force resonance, changing the Earth's vibration to remove from the human frequency. People are feeling disconnected from the Earth, which means the energy doesn't rise properly. Energy in the legs is blocked. Kidney meridians, where energy first rises, they get blocked. People have various weaknesses. They feel disconnected, low energy, they can't understand why. Quite often the problem isn't in them, it's because they've been disconnected from the earth. What this servitor will do is make a deeper connection to the earth beyond all that force resonance so they can be nourished again. And beyond that, it will also make them impervious to unnatural things. They can't be pulled away from nature anymore. They stay strong in their energy field when all these other synthetics around them trying to pull them off no longer affect them, keep them strong in their connection to the earth and to nature. So the right of this chart is for programmed environment. You notice we have things like your house, towers, satellites. You might be targeted from a satellite, for instance, or it might be simply say a 5G tower near you that's affecting you. You actually program them with positive vibrations. Along here we have the solfeggio frequencies, which are all positive in health. There's some other defaults you can add to it here, which are basically mantras and things from the Vedic tradition. Mahamudranjaya mantras for immortality, clearing diseases. You've got Kali Kavacham for protection, tree mantras for overall healing of the DNA. So these can all be added boxes as well, and you can reprogram the environment to be positive. So any satellites and towers and any problems in your house or the negative earth vibrations around you can all be reprogrammed so your environment becomes healthy to you as well. Tip of the chart is for dealing with enemies, because sometimes with personal healing is being attacked by somebody, and that's a problem. There are 3 levels of severity dealing with those enemies. First is neutralize and bind. It's always worth doing that. So if somebody is harming the person, it'll bind their energy so they can't do it anymore. If you want to counterattack, the first level is astras. These are like the magical missiles from the Vedic tradition, which destroy negativity. They are not the person's energy around really strongly. If you want to really finish them permanently, we have the destroyers. These act permanently until the person is finished, basically, so they can't do any more harm. So according to the level of problem coming from the outside, from attacks, we have different levels of severity in dealing with those. We also have a timeline function, which can actually travel back in time to deal with past lives, ancestry, and things like that. You can set that up and then do all the same operations again to heal a past life or ancestry, if you feel that's at the cause of a problem as well. So you see, you can set up a full healing session of all the things you need. Just press start, and that person is then going through hour of healing, all these things being done. I'm going to give you a little demonstration before we finish of how powerful it is, because you can see I can target anybody who's watching this. So I won't do it right now, so you can be prepared if you want to receive it or not. But before we finish this session, I'm going to actually send out a healing to everybody watching, so you can just feel how powerful this is and how much it can affect a person and how wide it can be used. It is a very powerful healing tool. So over to questions now.
So the first one is, the question is, how do I get my dog back? So my partner has taken my dog.
Okay, there's 2 sides of this.
Yeah.
Well, actually, there's three angles you look at. First of all, the first thing I would say is use the manifestation machine. You want your dog back. You visualize your dog being with you, all happy and everything wonderful, and leave that running. Then we've got to neutralize the negative. Okay, what's stopping? Is there a negative energy in your partner that's messing you around? Or then maybe use one of the discretion functions here, or set up the basic chart and say find the energy of his stubbornness and whatever's causing it, neutralize that. And finally, harmonizing. If the partner's being a problem or causing problems, use a harmonizer chart. If you do all those 3 angles, you're going to get rid of the problems. The focus should come back to you safely and easily.
So the next question that I asked was, how do we discreate poverty? So for example, if I have a poverty mindset towards my business, or if I personally have a poverty mindset.
We have a talisman for that, the money block remover. In this case, I use the basic chart. You target yourself. You put in the first trend box, you put the money block remover, which is made to actually deal with poverty rather than just money. You see, poverty isn't just the absence of money as people think it is. It's an artificial creation. Before we had this whole structure of hierarchy in our society, nobody had lack because nature provides everything we need. It's been created to take power from you, and it has many beliefs and emotions behind it, like lack of self-worth, feeling not good enough, lack of expectation, settling for less. Also, another part of that is related to your father. You see, your parents, your first conditioning is how to earn money. What your parents' earning is what you then expect, so your expectation becomes limited. The money block remover moves all those blocks, moves all the poverty consciousness. What they'll do then is add on the next box the Amun Ra talisman for wealth. So use both of them. Money block move to move those poverty consciousness, and then the wealth talisman to create wealth. They can be all done on the basic chart with a couple of talismans.
And what about, because we were talking about business, what about the mindset or the limiting belief of nothing ever works for me, or no one ever buys my things, or whenever I do this, it doesn't work?
This is where I'd use the Discreation Talisman. You see, some of these problems take a bit more attention to break down because it's been there a long time, and you're going to go through emotional changes with this process. But set onto the target for yourself and put in the trend, the Discreation Talisman. Well, setting this up a dowser rate for that particular problem. In this case, the fact that nothing ever works. That's a pattern. There's a creation in life, which has lots of emotions behind it. I've been reinforced many times over your lifetime, and it keeps manifesting itself. That's a creation. When you put the rate in the box for this, then that's what this is creating. This doesn't move it instantly. It causes a process within your consciousness to release it, which means all those other emotions will come up to be released. So when you do this process, you need to be a little bit aware. You're going to go through change, therefore be willing to actually welcome whatever comes up. You're going to go through change for a few days. So all these old memories of poverty, all the memories of nothing ever working, all the memories of things going wrong and nothing works for you, all surfaces. Emotions come up and release and you feel better. Then it's gone forever. So this is where you use the Discreation Talisman.
And is it fair to say that you would use the Discreation Talisman for any type of limiting belief that you no longer want to have?
Yes, not just a belief, but any what I call creation. As we see, Discreation is about ending a creation. And the creation can be many things, a pattern in your life that keeps happening, and you know there's beliefs behind it, but it's actually manifesting before you. This thing of nothing ever working, it keeps happening. That's why you can't get rid of the thoughts. You think you keep moving a block, and then it happens again. It's become such a solid manifestation in your life. This Discretion Talisman breaks these down. The whole manifestation with its beliefs, its energy, these repeated patterns with everything.
And what about discreating or ending something that's tangible, such as a relationship, a negative relationship, or the negativity within a relationship?
You can do that. See, it will respond to your thoughts because you douse rates for it. You douse a number for the particular thing you want to discreate. It could be the relationship itself, you want them to go away. It could be a certain negative trend. And this is where discretion becomes so useful because you notice trends in your life. You may have had the same pattern with other people before. You just manifest it again. You don't just want to end it now, you want to end it forever. Remove that pattern from your consciousness so it doesn't keep repeating itself. So yes, Discretion Talisman is really great word for those things. You can do it for relationship patterns as well, and negative behavior in a relationship.
When I think about myself, or not myself, when I think about my dog, there's also things like I would like to stop my dog from getting fleas and ticks so that I don't have to go to remedies or to medication, things like that. Or maybe there's critters in the garden that I want to get rid of.
Oh, yes, there's several ways of using this. Again, you do it on the basic plate. You see, everything has a rate, a vibration. If I douse the rates for the ticks and fleas or anything else in the garden, like slugs, anything you don't want, and neutralize it, the energy diminishes, therefore that thing goes. Another way you can use is, remember that the actual normal cures, such as the poisons they put on things and the flea powders and things, you can actually put that in the trend box. I could stick a little bit on the trend box, douse a rate for it, and send it to the fleas on that dog, and all those fleas go. So you see there's different ways you can do that one. First, it was simplest to simply find the rates for that pest and neutralize it. Second thing to do is actually use the cure, such as the flea powder, and let's do that on the chart. Both work, but if you use both, then it's even better.
What about doing something positive, such as winning a competition or being able to hand in a good report or an exam or something like that?
Several things there. Obviously, one, this is where the kind of basic clearing kit comes in useful because you want to first of all get rid of anything that's in the way, what's making you fail. You can discredit failure patterns. You can actually get rid of interference like mind control or negative thoughts of people make you feel ashamed, so you put you down so you don't feel you can win. So neutralize all that first, and then go to the manifestation machine. Back to this one.
So you would use the basic plate first with the Apep Talisman, is that right? You
can do that. The Apep is good for neutralizing those negative energies, but also some of the other things mentioned in the kit as well. Like, for instance, Karmic tie cutters, the forgiveness function on the plate that removes all the shame, because all these get in the way. You want to be protected from other people's energies, other people's negative thoughts, any other negative vibrations around there, it can make you fail. So it's good to douse those using the kits. Anything that might be sabotaging you, because there can be so many different possibilities there. Like I mentioned, like the negative earth energies, the EMFs and towers around you, all these can be putting you down. So first you want to douse everything that could be in the way and neutralize it all. After that, all you have to do is use a manifestation machine. You visualize the outcome, you're totally succeeding, winning, and let that run. Now, think about the manifestation machine, because it's putting out 24/7, it neutralizes whatever negative thoughts somebody else is putting out. It's like having somebody who's really good at manifestation sitting there doing it for you 24/7. So it's constant backup of positive energy saying, I can win. So it's very good for that as well. You know, you can actually visualize winning with all the right feeling of it that comes with it, put the emotion into it when you touch the plate, feel the emotion of winning and being really positive and everything, and know that one. That'll give you that winning feeling and all the energy you need to win. It'll start to manifest it in whatever way it needs to happen.
What about manifesting something really big like a house or a holiday or, you know, a big windfall?
You can do that. But remember, some of the bigger goals take a bit more time. So I always recommend setting out more than one goal. We have short-term goals, long-term goals, even your ideal goal. Ideal, but by definition, is something you won't reach, but it's the ideal you're pointing towards in your life, what you really see as the ultimate success you can have. And your long-term and short-term goals somehow align to that. So yes, I want to get a house. But before that, what are my stepping stones? How do I get that rich to get the house I want? What do I want to create before that? Do I want to improve my job, have more savings? Set several goals. So I set the program here for manifesting a house and leave it running. That could be taking some months to happen, maybe even a year or two if it's a big goal. So you leave that running in the background and it's working on it. In the meantime, to help you along, set other goals in between that and the big goal. So you can watch the progress in your life, getting one thing after the other until you got the big goal. You want to manifest one goal after another, increasing all the time, because it gives you more motivation. You see the success growing in stages.
And what about manifesting people such as friends or romantic partners or business partners even?
First thing I do is use the love block remover. Just we have a money block remover, there's also a love block remover, which deals with any issues you have around love, being loved. Again, deals with a lot of common patterns such as self-worth issues and shame and all the feeling not good enough, the shyness and all those things. It heals all those. That's the first thing. You want to heal the problems. Beyond that, you can use a manifestation machine. Visualize having lots of friends, let it work. You can go back to the basic plate. Put that there again in a minute. First step in this case is a rate for having lots of friends. You can use different talismans on that. You can actually think of things you want to heal that get in the way, such as your shyness or lack of confidence. In that case, we go back to the healing plate. Where are we? The Meridian clearing one. You see, solar plexus chakra is where your shyness is going to be. Do healing in solar plexus, so you get rid of that shyness, lack of confidence. It'll give you a boost, so you can actually make friends better as well. So there's several angles here. See, you can manifest them with friends. You can heal the root cause. You can boost your solar plexus, so it all happens more easily and efficiently without any problems.
And what about manifesting things within a business, such as more funds coming in, more sales, or more customers, more leads, things like that?
Okay, I'd start with the basic abundance things you mentioned before, because obviously business is about the abundance. So I'd use the money block remover, use the Implant Talisman on the basic chart. Beyond that, use a manifestation machine. Picture your goals, and actually this is a good one to reset, because the thing is, as a business, you should be focused on your goals every month, aren't you? Hopefully. So you do month by month, you set a goal for that month. So I'll use manifestation charts. Put that there again. And I'm going to renew this each month. I'm going to picture my goals for that month. Think of the sales coming in, everything, how everything's going to go, all the positivity and people working together and everything succeeding for that 1 month, leave it running. End of the month, I'll do it again for next month. With business, you're going in stages. So this is a really good way to understand how manifestation works. You're going to success step by step. You have goals set and you manifest those goals.
And we talked about removing or discreating limiting beliefs and patterns like that. What about actual behaviors, such as maybe you're addicted to coffee, or you want to stop eating bread, or you want to stop drinking wine, or something like this?
Okay, two things to look at. First of all, the addiction itself has an energy. If we go back to the basic chart again, you simply douse a frequency for that addiction or habit that you don't want, to put it in the trend box, use Apep to neutralize it. All the energy of that addiction goes, because energy builds up as a kind of egregore. A habit has an energy behind it, which keeps repeating itself like a living thing. Get rid of that and the habit goes. Now, the other side of addiction is that there's an emptiness you're trying to fill. This often goes back right to early childhood when you're not being healthy enough. See, when you hold a baby, the mother's heartbeat is strengthening the baby's heartbeat is in training it. If it doesn't get that, there's an emptiness that's left, it's trying to fill. This is the root cause of most addictions. In this case, I use the healing talisman. In the basic kit, there's a Sri entry talisman, which actually restores the divine blueprint. It'll place energy that should be there. It'll strengthen the heart so it gets to the root of that addiction problem. So I've used both angles on this basic chart. First of all, neutralize the actual addiction. Secondly, put in the Sri entry to heal the problem in the heart. You could also then go to the healing kit if you want to, and use the heart chakra function in it to heal the heart chakra.
And so we're talking a lot about removing or bringing in things for the self, but what about other people? So let's say I'm dissatisfied in my current relationship, I'm not enjoying my partner's behavior, or maybe I'm arguing with someone in my family. Is there something you can do to neutralize that or to improve those situations?
Yes, several things. First is obviously to neutralize that negative behavior. That is a frequency too. You start with the basic chart. You put in, you can actually target yourself, because this is your creation. You can target your partner if you want to neutralize their negative behavior. Find a frequency for that the negative behavior, neutralize it. You can use the Apep Talisman to take it away so it all goes. That particular habit goes because the energy is all gone out of it. You can go back to the Harmoniser chart, go here somewhere. See, harmony relationship is also useful. Harmonize two people to understand each other, you and your partner. You get on much better. They'll start listening to you more because they understand. Obviously, you might have to neutralize the negativity first, because that's why you use the Discreation and the Apep Talisman, and then you can actually harmonize you. Of course, beyond the Apep, you can also use Discretion for that person. You can do it with other people too. There's no reason why you shouldn't. You might just set up a chart for your partner, put the Discretion Talisman on, and look at the negative pattern he's creating in his life and his behavior, instead of wait for that. So it's discreating it for them, so they start to change.
Now, one thing that I find is that some of the magical items that I use are attacked or they absorb negative energy. So can psionics support that or help me to keep my magical items safe?
Okay, you can actually set up the basic chart for an item as well. In the target box, you put the name of the item, whether it's your pendulum or other sacred object, and then you can set protection on it. I'd use the cloaking talisman first so people can't find it, so I can't interfere with it. You can put the intelligent shield on it to neutralize any negative vibrations coming towards it. The unbinding talisman on it so they can't bind its power. So you can put all those on a chart set for the instrument that you want to protect.
And what about being targeted? So as many individuals are targeted these days. So how can they use psionics to support themselves?
I have special things for them. You see, I have an anti-targeting talisman, first of all. Now, they'll see several layers of this, but let's look at the anti-targeting talisman. This actually hides them, so the people who are tracking them can't find them anymore, makes them invisible to their detection methods. So first use the anti-targeting talisman so they can't be targeted. That's the first step. Obviously, there's several times of attack. They might want to use the PMF shield to actually neutralize all the electromagnetic attacks. You can do it on the healing chart. I come back to my healing chart here. And there's the function there to actually neutralize the satellites and everything around them, as well as destroy your enemies. Then like set up a counterattack and neutralize all the negative lights come in, utilize satellites, towers, anything else around them. So it can be done from that chart. Also the Implant Disruptor Talisman, that'll actually neutralize the implant in the body because those are often the source of attacks. So those are the basics. The anti-targeting talisman, the implant remover, basic healing chart to reprogram the environment, and of course there's the PMF shield and the AI disruptor talisman and the implant disruptor talisman. So that combination will get rid of all the different attacks.
And is all this on the Ultimate Healing Plate, or would you use that on the?
No, they're separate talismans. Most of those. So there is an if you look on the talisman page on my website, there's actually an anti-targeting talisman. So it means the target they can't find you anymore, so you can't target you. And there's also in some of the kits as well as separately there's the implant neutralizer, there's the PMF shield. A lot can be done on the healing chart as well, because you see if you've got this, it's pretty self-contained. You can heal yourself, you can reprogram the environment, you can counterattack the enemy. So you can do everything from that chart. So it depends how you want to work.
Is this suitable for just general psychic attack, or just those who know they're being targeted by certain organizations?
It can be used for either. See, the healing chart is very versatile. They can be used for anything. But if somebody's feeling targeted, I'd set up a basic chart for you first of all, and put the anti-targeting talisman there. Therefore, whatever they're doing, they can't find you, so it stops many attacks. Then you can look at different attacks on you, such as AIs, implants, EMFs, whatever else coming in, and utilize all those with appropriate talismans.
And what about things like curses on an individual?
Yes, we do those all the time. Notice there's the curse and entities button on the healing chart. Also, there's the intelligent shield you can put in the basic chart, and the trend box to utilize the attacks. So that's very easily done with this technology.
And what if those curses are persistent? Like you get rid of one curse, or you get rid of one attack, and the attack or the curse, another one is being sent. If it's consistent and persistent,
this is where you use the kind of healing kit level 2, the Invincible Clearing Kit, because that's what is described as the Bliss Kit 2, being in the background, which keeps sending you attacks once you remove them. There's other versions of that, but it's basically you need the hidden enemy nullifier. You put that there, and it gets rid of the enemy behind it that's causing all the attacks.
and we're talking about curses, but can this be expanded into things like family and ancestral curses as well?
Definitely. Ancestral curses tend to be more insidious. They often take a lot more energy to release. You can break a curse on a person, but when a curse is passed down the family, but each generation has the same problem, so it's usually quite a deep and powerful one. It takes more energy to work. But in the talisman page and in the kits, I've got the generation curse remover. You put that on the box, it takes the curse off the whole family, out of the DNA, out of the ancestry, and gets rid of it completely.
So hopefully from these examples, then people will be able to understand the creativity and the flexibility that you have within the variety of the psionics kits and the talismans that you have provided.
Actually, the more is developing new things according to requests and problems people have. So if you've got a problem that you can't answer, just email me and I'll either give you a solution or start working on a new one.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'm going to do the healing I mentioned earlier. So if you don't do receive healing, you can switch off now. If you're going to receive healing, make sure you're in a space where you can receive healing for an hour, because it's going to be pretty powerful. So what I'm going to do on the chart, I'm going to clear the chart from past programs. I'm going to target anybody who's actually watching this presentation. I'm going to set up, first of all, where are we? The clear orb, healing, tie cutting, soul retrieval, clear all curses and entities, surround you in codams, I'll send a love nuke, forgiving self, removing all shame and guilt. I won't do discretion at this point because it's more specific, but I'll do a connection to the earth. I'm going to reprogram environment, any satellites, all the towers and AI around you. Program with the solfeggio frequencies, with the mantras. Then we're also going to target any hidden enemies who might be bothering you. I'll just use the neutralizing mind and the astras. We're also going to set up to clear your past lives and ancestry and do the same programs again. Clear orb, healing, tie cutting, soul retrieval, remove cursed entities, surround the codams, send the love orb in, forgiveness, and now press start. And for now it's set in motion, so you're going to receive an hour's healing. So I'll leave you to it. So as you can see, these tools give you the ability to master your whole life. It even works on very powerful magical operations without much experience. So you can take control of your life, get rid of all your problems. There's no limitation. So if you have any questions, feel free to email me and I'll help you along your path.